So I have two tweets here that perfectly sum up this vapid era of woke corporatism and virtue signaling imperialism. So I'm not going to lie to you guys, these broke me. When I read these tweets, they just broke me. Something inside me permanently snapped. The first one is from Reuters. They say, Chevron diversity ratio to improve as layoffs progress. Chevron diversity ratio to improve as layoffs progress. So we got to fire all these people and they got to lose their job because, we got this economic downturn and there are all these problems. We got to fire people. What are we going to do? But look at the bright side. Now our diversity ratio is improving. I saw somebody tweet the other day, I noticed that none of the federal agents on the streets in Portland, federal troops on the streets in Portland, are women. And they were trying to say that as like a burn to Trump, like this guy doesn't even have female stormtroopers. Unacceptable. I mean, this is the famous hire more women guards tweet, right? Like, that's what this is. This is, we're locking people up in concentration camps, but they're all men. So hire more women guards, bro. Got to make this more diverse. This is happening in real life now. Remember that? So people probably don't remember this, but there was, I think it was on MSNBC, and I think the graphic quite literally said the head, the leaders of the military industrial complex, it may have said that, but it may have said defense industry too. They're all women now. So like the head of all those big corporations, the defense contractors, Honeywell, Boeing, Raytheon, they're all women now. Oh no, maybe it was the intelligence agencies, like the deep state or whatever. It's like, oh, they're all women. And they were celebrating that fact. They were celebrating it. Military industrial complex is diversified now. Amazing. Now we can kill innocent people overseas and have a good gender ratio. Yes. I told you guys all along that this is why diverting the struggle on the battlefield of symbolism and the culture war is always going to backfire. Because the system does not mind at all conceding on the culture war front and on the symbolism front. They'll give you everything on the symbolism front. As long as you don't substantively address stuff. As long as you don't end the wars. As long as you don't stop, Cambodian sweatshops from making cheap products. As long as you don't stop the cash flow and the corruption, well, they'll give you everything you want. Shit. You'll have billionaire CEOs taking a knee and wearing Black Lives Matter shirts, and that's what they do. Pretend like they're totally down with the struggle. It's really sad. Now, I even have the next one is probably a worse example of this. Mediaite says the following. Senate passes $740 billion defense bill with provision to remove Confederate names off military bases. So, they rejected Bernie's amendment to cut the Pentagon by 10%. They rejected Bernie's amendment to cut the Pentagon by 10%. They approved Warren's amendment of changing the Confederate names on the bases. So, in other words, we are pro-imperialism, we are pro-bloated military budget, we are pro being the world police and bullying everybody around the world, we are pro stealing natural resources from, places all around the world. All those things, that's business as usual, that's totally fine. We will continue to be the thug on the world stage. But, we need to be sensitive and woke so we can't have Confederate names for the military bases anymore. Because that would mean we're bad people. The murdering innocent people overseas endlessly, The giant bloated military budget, which is, a blank check, as people don't have health care in this country. People have medical bills. People can't pay their housing bills now because of COVID. That's fine. That's business as usual. What do you mean? We can't even change. We can't even cut it 10%. What are you, crazy? What are you, crazy? But to show that we're good people and we're evolving with the times, we will no longer have Confederate names for the bases. Do you see why being a leftist is painful? I mean, it's painful at times. This is the discourse. This is where we are. I was more right than even I realized when I said they'll always cave on the symbolism first. I didn't expect this stark of a view of it. Chevron trying to put a smiley face on the layoffs by saying a diversity ratio is improving. The military-industrial complex saying, come on. We care, so we're not going to keep the Confederate names. As they continue to bomb 8 different countries and kill civilians and escalate with Venezuela and Iran, and forget it. It's endless. See, this is why I'll end on this point, okay? This is why I'm very, very critical of these mass movements and these protests, because I'm a big believer that you're really not going to get much done unless you have very specific, clear demands. People who are marching in the streets for racial justice should have a list of 5 or 10 clear policy changes that they want, including ending the drug war, freeing the nonviolent drug offenders, ending mandatory minimums. There's a bunch of stuff you can do that would substantively address the racist system. But it's not just on that front, it's on anything. If you're part of a mass movement, you need to have the specific demands. We need to end all these wars and only fight wars for defensive reasons. If there's an imminent threat of attack against us, we're getting out of Iraq, we're getting out of Afghanistan, we're doing it now. This kind of specific stuff. We're here for Medicare for all. That's why we're protesting. We will not stop until we get it. Specific demands. Because if you don't have specific demands, if you don't have leaders, all these movements could just be diverted to goofy shit like this. It's goofy. It's goofy. I know you guys are out there protesting after George Floyd was murdered, but we pulled this Golden Girls episode where they wore mud face masks. We're getting rid of Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben. Are you guys done yet? You want to get out of the street? We did the Uncle Ben and the Aunt Jemima thing. That's good, right? See how easy it is to co-opt these movements and defang them? That's what it is. That's defanging. That's what that is. And we're just going to see more of this. They will always concede. Before they even would cut the military budget 10%, a measly 10%. They'd rather do we got rid of the Confederate names, and then watch all the idiots in the media fall for it immediately. Oh, what a wonderful day we have today, good sir. We're putting the past in the past, and we're moving forward and being more enlightened human beings. I hear Guantanamo Bay is hiring a transgender security guard to waterboard all of the inmates. That's where we're heading. That's where we're heading. Everybody's got to wise up and notice how the system is evolving to still continue the status quo and business as usual while pretending like they're becoming more enlightened.